Paid workers extra during flood season. Not mandatory, just right. That's a direct entry from the diary of a grandfather who ran a small textile unit in Haridwar. We're jumping straight in with this profound little note because it signals something a bit different for our explainer today. We aren't just looking at standard economic formulas, we're exploring the human element of value. We're going to follow a conversation between two characters, Mira and Arav, on a quiet terrace smelling of turmeric and rain, and discover how they unpack the deep connection between macroeconomic data and our own human principles.
Welcome to today's explainer. We are taking a journey from price to principle, looking at how the cold, hard numbers on a balance sheet actually collide with human integrity. Our absolute goal here is to demystify some of these complex macroeconomic indicators by anchoring them to a highly relatable human narrative.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Measuring a nation's wealth. 2. The cost of inflation. 3. Ethics, the daily choice. 4. CSR and corporate stewardship. And finally, 5. The value-based future.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Measuring a Nation's Wealth. Economists track gross domestic product and national income basically the exact same way you and I might track a household budget. It's simply what we earn, what we save, and what we spend, just scaled up to a massive global map. Arav and Mira frame these massive metrics beautifully in our story. Personal income is what hits the bank account, and disposable income is what you actually have left after taxes to feed your family or grow your business.
Now, whether you use the product, income, or expenditure method, economists are really just using different lenses to view the exact same financial picture. It's literally like trying to understand a family's budget by looking at their earnings, their spending, or what they actually produce. 3 different angles, but it gives you one complete picture.
But here is where the numbers start to show some pretty major cracks. These hard metrics have massive blind spots. They completely exclude unpaid work, informal labor, and environmental costs. Mira points out a powerful reality from our source material. Her grandmother's work in the kitchen, cooking and feeding 10 people every single day, never once showed up in any national economic ledger. The numbers easily capture the price of the groceries, but they completely miss the immense value of that labor.
Which brings us to Section 2, the cost of inflation.
6%. When Arav reads a newspaper headline showing that essentials have spiked 6% in a single quarter, inflation suddenly stops being this abstract metric. It becomes a silent thief, eating directly into everyday purchasing power. It's an immediate, often highly stressful reality for so many.
Whether it's demand-pull inflation, which is basically too much money chasing too few goods, or cost-push inflation coming from rising production costs, the squeeze on your wallet feels exactly the same. And there's also a third, really insidious type called built-in inflation. That creates a challenging wage-price spiral, where wages and prices just keep aggressively driving each other up.
Central banks actually monitor the consumer price index and wholesale price index to adjust interest rates and try to cool the economy down. But we really have to remember what Mira says here. Numbers do not tell the whole story. Behind the data, inflation is an emotionally brutal reality for daily wage earners who are literally watching their survival become more expensive by the day.
Moving right along to Section 3, ethics, the daily choice.
Think about this for a second. Should a company lay off workers to survive or keep them and risk total collapse? Business ethics isn't just a dry textbook chapter, it's a daily agonizing choice between competing values. It's often deeply inconvenient, and honestly, there's usually no perfectly clear answer.
When facing these dilemmas, leaders usually grab one of 3 lifelines: a utilitarian, rights-based, or justice-based framework. Remember Mira's grandfather? He didn't care about what his competitors were doing. He took a purely justice-based approach, choosing equitable pay over extra margin. He paid the women in his factory equally, ensuring fairness absolutely above all else.
Let's dive into Section 4, CSR and corporate stewardship.
So in India, there's a really fascinating legal threshold. Companies above a certain size are legally mandated to spend 2% of their profits on corporate social responsibility. But compliance is really just a checkbox, right? Arav and Mira realize that true stewardship is a cultural mindset. It's rooted in genuine care, not just a legal mandate to hit a specific percentage.
When a company decides to move beyond mere compliance, their stewardship usually rests on 4 pillars: community development, environmental sustainability, employee welfare, and ethical sourcing. Our source highlights some amazing real-world examples. There's a textile firm providing free schooling for the community, a tech company rigorously planting trees to reduce its footprint, and a bakery intentionally hiring differently abled staff. Now that is stewardship in action. And that brings us to our final stop, Section 5, the value-based future.
At the heart of an enduring company is corporate governance. Arav calls this the compass. We're talking about the independent boards, protected shareholder rights, and audit committees that keep a corporate ship steady and prevent it from wandering into some very dangerous waters.
Because when that compass shatters, you get catastrophic failures and completely broken trust. Just look at the Enron or Satyam scandals. But when governance holds strong, you get value-based successes, like certified B corporations. These organizations prove that protecting human dignity and maintaining long-term accountability actually creates a far more stable business model than desperately chasing short-term delivery. These forward-thinking organizations operate on what's known as a triple bottom line: people, planet, profit. It's a philosophy that completely redefines success. Ethical leaders using this framework don't just manage human resources, they mentor human beings. They prioritize dignity, empathy, and courage right alongside their financial targets.
As the sun sets on Arav and Mira's golden terrace, the diary closed and the newspaper finally folded, they arrive at an incredible synthesis. Mira whispers, "Ethics isn't a subject, it's a mirror." And Arav replies, "And value isn't just price, it's principle." I think that perfectly captures our entire journey today, proving that the numbers on a page only truly matter when they reflect the humanity of the people creating them.
I want to wrap up our explainer today by turning the lens directly onto you. We've talked about GDP, inflation, CSR, and corporate governance, but at the end of the day, how do you measure value in your own work? Are you tracking just the price, or are you measuring the principle? It's a tough question for sure, but it's definitely one worth answering. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.